Hey fellow babies, welcome back to Pachter Factor on SIFTD.net. If you're watching real time, it's because you're a Patreon patron and or you are a Twitch Prime subscriber who linked your account to your Amazon Prime account, so thank you for that. You also could be watching as a YouTube subscriber. If you're watching this and you're not paying for it and Twitch isn't paying for it, then you're getting it a week late, and the price for that is you have to follow me on Twitter at Michael Pachter. From SIFTD, Peter, hope all's well. What do you predict Sony will offer with this heavily rumored Spartacus subscription service to compete with Game Pass? Will it offer first-party games on day one? Does Sony even have a chance to compete with Game Pass without its best games being available day one? I don't know what Sony plans to do because Sony's been uncommunicative for the last couple of years. Since Jim Ryan became head of PlayStation, you just don't hear from them. Like, I don't know. They send me copies of press releases, so I know the same amount that you do. So I don't know what they're planning to do. Jim Ryan, last I spoke to him, which would have been 2017-ish, was maybe 2018, was pretty adamant that it wasn't a good business model to have games available on subscription day one because he felt they could sell the game and then they could put it on later. And, you know, that's sort of like movie streaming services. Only Netflix day one. I mean, HBO Max only did it for 1 year. They're all pulling back because they're giving up too much by not having theatrical exhibition. So I think Microsoft, in a vacuum, was dumb to put first-party games on Game Pass. But after they beefed up the service with all those studio acquisitions and buying, you know, the 6 small ones and then Bethesda and now Activision, now it's starting to make a lot more sense because they have enough catalog that they don't even need to worry about new games. There's so much. I don't think Sony will do it. I think Sony will fail miserably at a subscription service. I don't think they have enough content. And so I think of Sony as being a very poor substitute for Game Pass, the same way I think of Paramount Plus being a really poor substitute for Netflix. Paramount Plus has a handful of new content. You know, they have the Mayor of whatever the hell it's called.
Easttown?
Mayor of Easttown?
I believe so.
Yeah. Mayor of Kingstown.
I haven't
Mayor of
watched
Easttown.
it yet, though.
I watched it. It's good. And they have 1883. Great. That's it. 2 shows. And then the rest is just a bunch of old stuff. And I don't think that's enough. I mean, I just don't think that's enough content to justify a standalone subscription. Hulu's not growing particularly fast. They're going through bundle. Sony's not going to grow without content. And Sony first party isn't enough, and particularly if they don't put it on day and date. So I think Spartacus is dead before it even gets going. And I think Microsoft buying Activision, the biggest benefit to Microsoft of that is all the Activision content is on Game Pass, and none of the Activision content will ever be on Spartacus. So, same reason Disney bought Fox. Disney puts Fox content on Disney Plus, and no Fox content ever on Netflix. That hurts Netflix. So, Microsoft already screwed Sony with this Activision deal. I think Spartacus is going to fail miserably, and I think Sony is going to, you know, kind of dwindle away in relevance over the next 10 years as we don't need consoles anymore, but we'll see, won't we? Okay, today's question from SIFTD from Robin K. In a market of 120 million PS4 units sold, one of the greatest games of the generation like God of War sold only 20.5 million units only. If the best possible outcome is 20 million units sold, and most big budget games never come close to that number, are AAA games actually a niche market with limited prospects for growth? Is this why Sony is focusing on games as a service going forward? Is Sony's strategy of having 10 games as a service before March 2026 a good idea? Is it feasible to create 10 quality games of that nature in such a short amount of time? All right. As you mentioned, God of War selling 20.5 million units. Grand Theft Auto sold 150.
No, it's 160.
Yeah, 160, whatever. So I realize that's across PS3 and 4, but still, it's unusual for any game to have, on a single platform, to have a huge attach rate. Nintendo tends to get closer to 40-50% attach rates for stuff like Mario Kart and Smash Brothers, but even they don't get 100%. Zelda probably is approaching like 60 or 70, but it's really rare to get more than about 20%, so that's not crazy. And when you think about big budget games, think of them as a portfolio. Don't think of them as each one standalone. But God of War probably had 300 people work on it for 5 years. Let's go crazy, making $100,000 a piece, $150 million to make, and it sold 20.5 million units. Let's call it $50 wholesale. It did $1 billion. So they made back their money and then some. They made a nice profit. So I think that, don't think of Sony as having an either or strategy. Think of them having a core games, AAA games, and live services strategy. Think about Sony games the way you think about Sony film and television studio. They can have a film franchise and they can have a TV franchise, and they make money on both. So they can have a console game and they can have a live services game, and they can make money on both. Is it feasible to have create 10 quality games in 4 years? No. Is it feasible to buy them? Maybe. So, we got asked a question in a recent episode, what's Sony's next acquisition? I mean, I guess they could buy Riot Games. I guess they could buy, Steam with Valve, and they could take, I don't know, they're not going to, but they could buy Valve and they could take over Dota and Counter-Strike Go, and there's two. So sure, there's all sorts of things they could do to jumpstart that, but I doubt that they're going to. Is it a good idea to focus on games as a service? Yeah, I think it is. I think that if you look at the console and PC market, it's kind of stuck at $20 billion. If you look at I'm going to call this desktop free-to-play, it could be console as well, but the free-to-play market where you play a game like Apex Legends, not mobile, so League of Legends, Apex Legends, that market's probably 20-30 billion. If you look at the mobile market, it's probably 100. So when you kind of add it all together, there's a $150 billion opportunity, and right now Sony's in 20 billion of it. So why not create games to address the 150 billion opportunity? So yes, I think they get into games as a service. I think they get into mobile. I think that they would benefit immensely from doing all of it. That's why Take-Two bought Zynga, because they're trying to go from console to console plus mobile. That's why EA bought Apex, because they're trying to go from console and mobile to console, mobile, and free-to-play desktop. They managed to kind of expand their business. That's why Activision took the Call of Duty brand, console PC, and expanded it to mobile and free-to-play desktop with Warzone. That's why Diablo Immortal's coming out on mobile. That's why the next StarCraft game will be free-to-play. That's why when Overwatch 2 comes out, Overwatch 1 will be free-to-play, because Activision's planning to take all these different business models and exploit them. So is it a good idea? Yeah, it's worked for everybody but Sony, so Sony's going to get into it. That's why Microsoft's buying Activision, because they know how to do mobile and they know how to do desktop free-to-play. So I expect that in 10 years, everybody who's got good content will be in every business model. And so Sony won't just have Last of Us as a $60 PC game every 5 years. They'll have Last of Us mobile, and they'll have Last of Us desktop. They'll figure it out. So I absolutely think this is coming. Will Sony succeed? I don't know. Hard to make a call on something when you don't know what it is, who's working on it, what the IP looks like, when it's coming. So 10 in 4 years, no chance. No chance that they're good. But one, maybe. We'll find out. Thank you for joining us on Pachter Factor on SIFTD.net. And if you are watching real time, it's because either you're a Patreon patron, thank you very much. You're a YouTube subscriber, thank you very much. and or you have linked your Twitch Prime account to your Amazon Prime account, which all of you can do for free. If your parents are Prime members, go ahead and try it. It'll work. Remember to re-up that. It's in the description, show description. We tell you how to do that online. So just take a look and link your Twitch Prime account to your Amazon Prime account, because it's free money for Shane. It'll keep these things being produced. It's no money for me, but I know you guys tolerate me. If you're doing none of those, follow me on Twitter at Michael Pachter. I will see you next time.